joy and pain. I'm sorry, I'm waiting for it.
My family secret is that we've been trying to have a baby for 3 years, and I'm afraid that I will never have a baby. It leaves almost like a hole in me because I'm not complete without a baby. Our family isn't complete until we have that baby. I'm infertile. It's on my mother's side. My mother and my grandmother were affected by it as well. When I was in high school, I had cramps, but so did other girls. It wasn't until I was older and we actually started trying to have a baby that I started noticing that my cramps weren't what other people had. I wasn't the same as everyone else, that pregnancy wasn't going to come as easy to me as it did for other women.
I knew when I first met her, I guess, that she had these pains, and you know, she couldn't explain it. Her doctor couldn't explain it. And I knew her mom and her grandmother had problems, but I didn't know, probably until we started seeing Dr. Martin.
I never thought it would happen to me. Until I was 24. When I was 24, I thought to myself, and I said to Ryan, before we even got married, I said, if I can't have kids, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I didn't know prior to marriage that we'd be sitting here in the situation we're in today.
When we were still dating, we used to talk about having a family, and I said to him, if I were ever not to be able to have children, would you still marry me? And he, like, would you still ever want to be with me, kind of thing. I don't think I said marry, because I don't think we were that old yet. And he said no. Ryan and I have been married 3 years, and I've been trying to get pregnant for 3 years. Even though I knew the background and I knew my family history, I still thought to myself that it won't be me. It won't happen to me.
We're going to the fertility specialist. Today is day 10, so what they do is they do blood work and an ultrasound. There's other things I'd rather be doing, but obviously if it gets us to the ultimate goal of actually getting pregnant and having a baby, willing to do almost anything, actually.
We're trying, I guess. That's the difficult thing, and occasionally when you have family get-togethers and reunions and things, different members of the family who typically are, you know, the cousins or the aunts that you don't see on a regular basis say some things that ask pointed questions as to, you know, when's the baby coming, that kind of thing, right?
Even though my mom and my mother-in-law understand that I have an infertility problem and that we're going through, they put the guilt pressure on. Like, they'll see a baby and they'll be like, oh, Courtney, I want a baby like that. I want a grandbaby.
Like, there for a while I was knitting, remember?
Yes.
And then you were getting uptight, disappointed.
Yeah.
So I kind of put that away and started knitting for Courtney.
Yeah.
And,
Instead of a baby.
I thought I was jinxing you. This now in plastic under the bed.
Oh, that's where you put it?
Yes.
I wondered
so
where
you
it was,
can't
because
see
one time I came up and it was in the spare bedroom, and I walked in, there's all this baby stuff, and I was like, oh, Mom's been knitting. And I'm like thinking to myself, well, we did tell her about 3 years ago that we were going to start trying, and it just hasn't happened yet.
Well, right now I'm a grandmother to 2 cats and a dog. I'd like there to be a little boy or little girl, but if that's not going to happen, that's okay. You know, not, I don't even know how to put it, to be honest with you. Of course, I never thought the cats and the dog would be referred to, I'd be referred to them as grandma, but once I got used to it, that was okay.
I thought I had to fast. I don't. I can have something to eat for breakfast. Sometimes in the morning when I have blood work, I can't eat for 12 hours before I go into the doctor's office.
Is there an ultrasound this morning?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, how many times have we done this now?
Almost
Double digits.
16,
Yeah.
maybe?
Someday I'm gonna wonder why we're not doing this.
There'll be other things to do on a Saturday morning.
That's right. All right, let's roll.
I'm feeling very confident this cycle. The IUI will probably only be in a day or so. This cycle's going a lot quicker than normal, and we're doing a different protocol by actually using a shot to make us ovulate instead of just waiting for it to happen naturally.
So now this is it day 11 of your cycle?
Day 10.
Day 10. Okay. Now what we're seeing now is your uterus right here. Now lots of pressure.
I have to pee.
I can tell that. There's the left ovary, and you've got a follicle on that side that is 13.7 or 14 millimeters. Just a little bit more pressure. And then we'll go over to the right ovary, and that one is about 18 millimeters. Okay, good. So we have to do blood tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we'll do blood and ultrasound on Monday, and we may be ready by then.
Like here. Here's a guy pushing a baby carriage.
Babies everywhere.
There's a lady pregnant back there, and they, you know, a lot of the time, I'm sure it wasn't planned. And then there are people who plan and can't. It's very frustrating.
There are some things that are just beyond our control, I guess. And I've come to terms with that, I suppose.
And I haven't.
Yeah, that's probably the big difference between you and I right now.
Sometimes I think that you have that feeling because you don't have anything wrong with you. Like there's nothing wrong with it. The reason we're not pregnant is me.
As far as we know, my medical deal is okay, or at least acceptable. So until we hear otherwise, I suppose she'll put that pressure on herself that she's the medical uncertainty, I guess, in this, and I get frustrated of hearing that over and over and over again. I mean, I keep telling her that this is an us thing, not a her thing.
It's been much more difficult for Ryan and I to have a family than I ever thought possible. It seems like every time I think we're moving ahead, we're stopped. Something else stops us. And you see people all the time that don't try and they have kids, and I would give anything to be one of those people.
Do you remember this? I made her for you.
I
yeah.
know. It has your name underneath it. 1980.
My gosh.
Isn't that
Look
funny?
at the dust.
I know.
Holy cow.
It's funny, I still have that.
Yeah. She needs touching up.
Oh.
Brett's is broke. That's right. I did one for you and one
A
for
hockey.
Brett.
You did a hockey
Yeah.
one for Brett.
He broke it.
Look at that. Remember that?
Yes. What are you planning on doing with all these clothes and all these toys? If I bring the rest over, you're not going to have any room.
I'm gonna wash them. I think I'll wash them up and then I'll keep them. Because some of them I would put a baby in.
Yeah, you wore that, if I remember rightly. The white one.
The toys I'll keep for my kids. Definitely these. These are like,
You probably...
she's still got the bow in her hair. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, you weren't into washing their hair,
No.
just their clothes.
Yeah. She's still got the tag hanging under her head. From the box. That's funny.
Courtney always treated her dolls as real people. You'd be sitting there doing something and all of a sudden she'd be yelling that her baby was crying, but she couldn't help the baby, so Bill or I would have to go and look after this baby.
I've always wanted to be a mom, as in I've always wanted someone to call me mom. I've always wanted someone to be responsible for, to have, you know, someone who looked up to you.
I know Courtney feels guilty that she can't, you know, give both her parents and my parents a a grandchild, at least in the short term, barring a miracle.
I always feel that as physically fit as I am, as much as I go to the gym, as much as I dance, that there's something wrong, that there's something within my body that just isn't right, that's not normal. That, I don't know, it's kind of like, you know, a toy that's missing its arm. Like, I sometimes say, what good is it? What good am I? I can't have kids. Like, what good am I to not be able to have children?
I'll put it this way, there's been some short sleeps on occasion, but I can't pick out one that's any worse than the others. It's interesting that the degree of repetition that kind of comes around and around over and over again. It's at times it almost seems like we've had this fight, you know, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and it never seems to go away.
I can say it's been almost the worst 3 years that Ryan and I have been together. It's been the worst 3 years trying to have a baby and not coming up with one.
It's the nature, I suppose, of the troubles we're having. I try not to let it supersede everything else in my life. I know she takes it very hard. I have to try to bring her down from the pressure she puts on herself.
I guess sometimes I have to remind myself of the things that I do have to try to get through the anger and the frustration that I have over not being able to have a baby.
Hi.
Hi.
Sample for Courtney.
Excellent. We have your name on it?
Yep.
So we will see you later.
Great.
So there's your sperm in the catheter.
It's pink.
We only do girls.
I had nothing to do with the pink.
Tell me if anything hurts.
All right.
Okay. Oh, you need to rest for 10 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Remember, you have homework tonight.
Now, do we have homework tonight if we're doing IUI tomorrow morning?
Yes.
Okay.
He's got enough buffer there that you should do homework tonight, and then we'll put him through his paces again tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
Is that?
You betcha.
So it's 150.
Pricey week. How's the back?
It's not bothering me, that's what worries me. I should have back pain and I don't.
What's wrong with that picture, eh?
Especially if I ovulated, it should be painful because it was big. But it's not painful at all. I don't hurt at all, which isn't not necessarily a good thing. Makes me worried.
Hi. Hi, Mom. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
Right,
How's your day?
Pretty good. Where's Coco?
She's coming.
Come here, baby.
She's getting more exercise than she's ever
I
had.
know. If we know we're pregnant, we'll know right around Grammy's 79th birthday. It's just whether it takes or not, like, and whether they actually fertilize, whether the egg actually fertilizes.
Right. So hopefully, what was done takes.
Yeah, if
and then
not,
you'll have
I'll
some
be
good
like a
news
big
for her on her
crying
birthday.
pool of no. I wouldn't. I'm just kidding. Fair
Well,
how
you
I
could
will say
always
anything.
put happy 79th birthday and then put baby booties on the bottom of the cake.
Mom, you're planning a little too far ahead for me here. I feel alone. I feel like there's nobody in the world that feels the same way that I do. That there's nobody going through what I'm going through.
Both Bob's daughters are expecting. Janice in October and Brendan, I think it's in May. Or no, March.
Wow.
So how long have you and Ryan been trying?
3 years. It's so weird because I work with people who are actually infertile, who never had children because they didn't have the options.
Exactly.
And they're so supportive now because they're like, if I had had those options, things might have been different. But it's come a long way. And it's
And I was one of them in the 70s.
really.
Yeah, I have no children.
Well, I
could
wondered,
never-
but I never asked.
Yeah, I could never.
And
How many?
it's interesting how many people it affects, but it's almost like a quiet thing. No one ever says anything.
That's exactly
yeah.
what we did. We just didn't talk about it.
How did you, when you applied for the, or when you were at the National Ballet School?
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 13. Jada's like one of my best friends, and she's going to Australia. She's leaving. Today was her last day of work. If I was single right now, I would offer to go with her. I would offer to go with her. I would love to travel. Just to have fun, just hang out, you know, do like things that you don't have, like right now, like I'm married, we have a mortgage kind of thing. Like if I could get rid of that and just go and have a good time and work when you had to work, and like I think a lot about like, what if I wasn't married? Sit for me.
That'll work. I'm gonna sit back and watch you. You're the baker.
Would you be a doll and please butter the pan for me?
We're preparing a cake for Grammy's 79th birthday tomorrow.
I have this urge to have children before my grandmother passes away. She was so instrumental in my life. I want her to be around when I have kids, and she's getting older.
Hello. We were going to sit in the car because... Thank you. Aw, you're sweet. You know what was on the radio?
Thank you.
What? Your song from your wedding, and we were going to sit in the
We're
car
gonna sit and listen to it. And I said, isn't that funny?
We'll start crying.
Oh, it's
That
good.
comes good.
For brownie points, eh?
Yummy.
Girl, come on. Hey,
Hello,
come
baby.
on.
Hello, baby.
Hey,
Come see my grandma.
hey, Grandma. Oh, here's my girl. Oh, yeah.
Her parents want grandchildren very much. I think she also has this keen interest in trying to give her Grammy a great-grandchild. And I think that in itself might be a bigger pressure than anything else on her side of the family.
No, I'm not pregnant. The IUI didn't work.
It seems pointless to continue pursuing what we're doing
When
if
you
we've
know
been,
it's not
We've been
working.
doing it for 6 months. Like we've
Yeah.
done 6
It's not
cycles.
working. It's a waste of time.
I would carry the child for her, but it's impossible now.
You don't have the
know?
equipment.
Well, I have some of it, but the main baggage I don't have.
She picked right up after she had a hysterectomy.
Yeah.
They said she wouldn't be able to have any more children anyway, so.
But I have my tubes and everything. I just don't have the uterus that Courtney needs.
But I don't need a uterus. I have
Well,
a uterus.
no, well, I'll give
I
you
have
the rest of my
everything.
working parts.
No, I
How's
have.
that?
No, that's not the problem. Like I have
Yeah.
everything that works. They just
Yeah.
don't seem to be. It's just not just going where
They're
it
not
has to.
in sync.
I don't know. I just don't think that the egg and the sperm are meeting. I think that's just it.
Here's to your 79th.
Wow.
Yeah.
80?
No.
I'm very scared that it won't work, that we won't have a baby, that my time will run out, and that I won't have the family that I've always dreamed of.
So I'm not pregnant this cycle, so I guess that means that we'll go on to our last cycle of IUI with Dr. Martin. Do you have any feelings about this being our last cycle?
Just, I wish it had worked by now, I guess, but, I guess we'll hop back on the saddle and try to be optimistic about it all.
I just don't want to think that, because when you say stuff like that, it puts pressure on me, that if I'm not positive, then it's my fault that it doesn't work.
I don't want you to feel like you're always put on the spot, and I don't know whether that's avoidable here. I'll try to be as positive as I can, but I'm not gonna go through that process with my head down, planning for the worst just so that we won't be let down. I'm there with you. I want you to remember that.
I do.
Sometimes I wonder,
Sometimes I just don't let it on. I need to hear it every now and then.
I do. I love you very much.
I'm positive that Ryan and I will have a baby in the next year. I'm a little scared we might have two, but I'm really excited and happy because I know that it's gonna work for us.
Could have said something to ease the pain. Just a few words would have made a happy home again. We were dead.